All right, welcome to your yoga practice. We have about 15 or 20 minutes together to go through a nice yoga flow. I call it yoga for runners, but really any yoga is good for anybody, runners and non-runners. We're going to have a particular focus in our practice today of getting some flexibility in through the hip flexors, which can get tight in not only runners, but anyone who sits a lot for work. Those muscles get shortened. And also we'll have a focus on the hamstrings, which also can get tight in runners and non-runners, the calves, and we'll also have a focus on the core strength, so strengthening in through the back muscles to make us more efficient in our running and in our everyday lives, and opening up in through the chest. Many of us have lives which are forward driving or computers, and these muscles can get tight, so we'll work on opening up those muscles. So go ahead and turn your phone off and enjoy a few minutes of few distractions if possible, but we'll work with it at whatever life gives us. We're going to find ourselves with our feet hip distance apart, and we can take your shoes off. Make sure you lift the toes up and spread them out wide so you have a broad base of support and activating those intrinsic muscles of the feet. And our knees are slightly bent, not locked. This activates the quadricep muscles and also protects the knee joint. We're going to bring our attention in through our pelvis and make sure we have a little bit of a pelvic tilt so that that tailbone is pointed toward the floor. Imagine that your pelvis is a bowl of water, and we don't want the water pouring out the front or out the back, but we want the water to stay right in the bowl. And then we engage the abdominal muscles just enough so that they're there, but not so much that we can't breathe deeply. We're going to use our yoga breathing, our Ujjayi breathing, in which we inhale in through the nose and bring that oxygen down into the belly, filling the belly first, and then letting that air fill in through the ribs second, and then finally lifting up the upper portions of the chest last. So taking a few minutes with your deep breathing, just to come into the room, into the moment, and letting anything that happened before you got on your mat today just to be in the past, to deal with it right now, and letting anything that may happen when you leave your mat just to stay in the future, and give yourself this gift of your yoga practice. Doing the best we can. We're going to inhale as we reach our arms up over our heads. Look up if comfortable for your neck. And then exhale, floating the arms down. As much as possible in yoga, we try to combine the breath with the movement, which is one of the reasons that yoga becomes a meditative type of practice. We're going to inhale up this time. We're going to lower into chair position. So we're going to have our hips go back. We're going to bring our hands right to our thighs, lowering down into chair or squat position. And then we're inhaling back up again. And let's do that again. So we started off with the modification of having the hands on the thighs to add a little bit more support for the back. And you're welcome to stay there. If you want a little bit more of a challenge in through the core, then take your hands off the thighs and bring them up about shoulder height, thumbs up to the ceiling. So just doing some dynamic motion, warming up in through the shoulders, warming up in through the hips and in through the knees. Strengthening the lower body, the quadriceps, the front of the thighs, the hamstrings, the back of the thighs, the glutes. We all know where they are. And let's do this one more time. We're going to change it now. So we're going to swan dive down this time. We're reaching up. We're going to slightly bend the knees. We're going to have a flat back as we float forward into a swan dive. Bring the hands to the shins or the floor. If you reach the floor comfortably, let the head fall down last. And to come up, we make sure we have a strong back. We bend the knees a lot. The arms airplane out to the side. We look forward. We lift the chest. The back is flat. And we're going to go into our chair here, that Utkatasana. Let's do that flow again. So we're inhaling. Swan diving down, hinging at the hip. Proud chest, reaching forward. Reversing the swan dive, slight bend, actually more than a slight bend in the knee. Inhale up. Here's our Utkatasana. Let's do that a few times, warming up the body, connecting the breath with the movement. Here's our inhale. Here's our exhale into chair. Let's do that one more time. You can do it. Starting to sweat a little bit. Feels good. And reverse swan dive. And chair. We're going to move into just a bit of a variation of a sun salutation. So we're inhaling up. We're swan diving down. Coming into our forward fold. We're going to step that left leg back so the right leg is forward into a runner's lunge, shoulders down and back. Front knee over the ankle, so 90 degrees. From here, we're stepping back into downward facing dog. Both legs go back, hip distance apart, pressing back into down dog. Fingers are spread out wide. We're inhaling from here into a plank position. Abs are in tight like a high push-up. Pull in. We're reaching forward on the toes. We're lowering down halfway to our chaturanga. We're flipping our feet and pressing up into our upward facing dog, opening the chest and pressing back from here into our downward facing dog. That right leg strongly sweeps forward between your hands, shoulders down and back. Make sure it's all the way there. Rear leg steps forward, forward fold. Bending the knees, flattening the back, reversing our swan dive up. And here's that chair. We're going to do that same thing on the other side, so we inhale up. And we're swan diving down. We're stepping back now with our right leg. Our left leg stays forward into our high lunge. Rear leg is straight. You can always modify that by coming down onto a knee. From here, we're stepping back into our downward facing dog. Hips high, heels reaching toward the floor. They may or may not ever get there. And we're inhaling into our plank, tight abs. We're shifting our weight forward. We're lowering down part way. Elbows hug the ribs. We flip the feet. We lift the heart. We press back. Adho Mukha Shavasana. We're stepping that left leg forward between our hands, looking up. Right leg joins, forward fold. Reversing our swan dive. And we're holding down in our chair. We're going to add a twisting chair to this. So sitting down, weight in your heels, weight back, hands come to the heart center. We're going to turn to the right, tucking that elbow to the outside of the knee and just looking toward the side wall. We're connecting back to the breath. We're inhaling back up center, and we're going to the other side. Check your knees, make sure they're level, or did one shoot forward of the other? Check that out, make sure they're level. Abs are pulled in. One more deep breath. And coming center, we inhale up. We swan dive down, hinge at the hip, feel the strength in the back. We're stepping back with our left leg to a right leg lunge. Lift the heart, peel the shoulder blades down and back. Press back, Adho Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower down halfway, Chaturanga Dandasana. Flip the feet, lift the heart. Feel the strength in the upper body. Press back, down dog. That right leg sweeps forward between the hands. Somehow get it there. If it doesn't make it, pull it forward. And the opposite leg reaches in, forward fold. Bend the knees, lift the heart, reverse swan dive. Chair. Inhale up. Let's go to that other side one last time. Darn that symmetry. We're stepping back into a left leg lunge. We're lifting the heart. Let the hips sink forward. Press back. Downward facing dog. Draw the chest toward the thighs. Inhale into a strong plank. Exhale, lower down halfway, chaturanga. Press up, feel the strength in the triceps. Down dog. Left leg sweeps forward as you lift the heart, peel the shoulders down and back. Other leg reaches forward, forward fold. Bend the knees, lift up. One more time with our chair. Strengthening those legs, inhaling up. And swan diving down. So we're going to step back with that left leg into a right leg lunge. We're going to hold this next pose. So we're going to do a crescent lunge. Great pose for everybody, including runners. We're going to walk our hands up onto our thighs, and at any time you can modify this by dropping down onto a knee. So we're getting that nice rear hip flexibility stretch, strength in the front. We're going to reach those arms up overhead. Interlace your hands to make a steeple with your index fingers. And we're arching back through your upper back. Try not to hinge into the lower back here. We're breathing, reaching the chest to the sky. We're going to bring our hands back to our heart center, and we're going to twist, tucking that left elbow to the outside of the right leg. Abs pulled in tight. We're inhaling back up center. We're swan diving down. We're going to throw a push-up in just because we can. We're stepping back. We're going to do one push-up. Left leg steps forward. So here we are for our crescent lunge on the other side. So switch legs. Walking or sweeping our hands up from here. Remember, we can drop down if you want to take a break. Maybe I will. Arms are going to reach up overhead. We're making that steeple with the index fingers. Sinking the hips down, lifting the heart up. Crescent lunge. Great for runners. Opening the chest. Stretching the hip flexor. The front of that rear hip, hands come together. We're going to twist. So we're tucking that elbow to the outside of the left leg. Spinal twist. Coming back center. We're swan diving down. We're going to step that rear foot in, come into standing. Reverse swan dive. Flat back. And coming back into our starting pose, our mountain pose. We're going to move into the warrior series next. So it's a great series for strengthening the legs and stretching those hamstrings, opening up the hip. So let's start with stepping that left leg back. We're going to hold these poses for a couple of breaths. You have a heel-to-heel alignment, so that front heel is in the same line as that rear foot, and that rear foot is kind of pulled in a little bit, some degree. We're going to push the front hip back as that right hip rotates forward, lunging. So that's it. You're welcome to keep your hands on your hips here. If you want a little more effort, bring them overhead, but make sure you get those shoulders out of your ears. So this is Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. We come back to our easy breathing. And from here, we're going to move into Warrior 2. The arms drop down shoulder height. The hips open up to the long end of the mat, and we keep lunging forward. Check in. Can you see your big toe, or has your knee collapsed in? We'll open it up. Reverse warrior. We're dropping that left arm to the rear leg, reaching that right arm up to the ceiling, enjoying a nice stretch in through the waist. And coming back to Warrior 2, straightening out the legs for triangle. This is a great pose to really stretch those hamstrings. Both legs are straight. You're going to reach towards me. Arms are straight, legs are straight, hip kicks back. And then take that right arm down to the shin, wherever it lands, and peel that left arm up to the ceiling. So you'll feel a huge stretch in that front hamstring. One more breath. And we're coming back into a lunge position in that right leg. So back to that lunge. We're going to step that leg back. We're going to throw in a push-up. And we're going to switch legs. So that left leg's coming through. We're going to turn that rear foot down and in, walk our hands up, coming into warrior from a different angle, but we're still here. So that right leg or that left leg is forward, we're lunging forward. That rear foot is turned in a little bit, both feet anchored into the mat. Turn the hips toward the front and lunge. Keeping your hands here, or if you want a little more work, reaching them overhead. And just breathing, finding your peace, finding where you can be still in the effort. How can you work and have effort but not be straining? And we talk about this in my book, 6 Weeks to Love Running. Where can you let go of some tension? Is your face tense, your jaw, your breathing, are your shoulders up in your ears? Warrior 2, opening the hips, the chest to the long end of the mat. Arms drop down. Keep looking over that front hand as you lunge. Feel that opening in through the hip, the inner thighs. Letting go of tension where you don't need it. Dropping that rear arm to the rear thigh. Lifting that left arm up to the ceiling. No weight on that rear hand. It's just there. Breathing for one more breath. Feeling good. We're almost there. Coming back to our warrior two. And we're straightening out both of our legs for triangle. Trikonasana, one of my favorites. Both legs are straight. Arms are out. You're going to reach toward me. And eventually you stop. And that's where you sort of cartwheel down. Place that left hand onto the shin, ankle, floor, wherever you naturally go. And then peel the right arm up to the ceiling. You can look toward it or center or to the ground, whatever feels better for your neck today. We're enjoying one more breath here. And we're going to just come down into that lunge, into that left leg lunge, finding ourselves in the lunge position. We're going to step back. We're going to do a push-up. Dropping the knees and coming into child's pose. Sinking your hips back to your heels, reaching the arms forward. So just doing a little bit of floor work now. Taking one more breath here in child's pose. And I'm going to walk our hands back up into kneeling, and we're going to just come into a seated position. So one of the things that happens for many of us, including runners, is that our hips get tight. So there's a pose that we can do to open up those hips. Now it's called lotus. I can't do the full lotus pose. You're welcome to give it a shot. But for a modified version for us mere mortals, we're going to take that left foot on top of the right. And we kind of have that bottom shin almost lined up with the short end of our mat. Our ankle is rigid, and we're sitting nice and tall in half lotus. And if you can't get your foot all the way onto your thigh, get it where you can. So maybe it's on your shin, but just make sure that ankle stays rigid. You'll feel a huge stretch in that left hip. And we'll just breathe here for a moment. Breathe into the stretch. And the stretching should always feel, I don't want to say good, but it shouldn't hurt. Just feeling a deep stretch here. And if you want a little bit more flexibility, you can walk forward and just deepen a forward fold into that stretch. You'll really feel it. So listen to your body, whatever feels good for you today. And we're going to switch sides. I'm going to let that leg go. So that left leg comes down, shin sort of lined up with the short end of the mat. We're going to take that right foot somewhere on top of the shin, on top of the thigh, and just make sure you're not cranking your ankle like so, that it just stays nice and rigid. And you may even notice an asymmetry, that one side feels tighter than the other. I definitely feel tighter on this right side. And that's one of the nice things about yoga, is that it brings balance. And just sitting here and breathing. Relaxing the face, the shoulders, the jaw, breathing into any tight areas. And once again, if you need a little more stretch, just hinge forward. Listening to your body. And one more breath here. And just letting that go. We're going to do one last pose, and it's going to be on our bellies. So we're going to just shift our weight forward onto our hands and knees, and just slowly come all the way down onto your belly. So we're going to do a modified bow on both sides, and then I'll invite you to try a full bow if you like. So we're going to take one hand in front. Let's start with that left leg, because it's my good leg, holding on to our ankle. You can rest your forehead right onto your hand if you like, and bringing your heel to your butt so you feel a nice stretch in the quad and the hip flexor. And if you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can lift the thigh off of the mat, push the hand into the ankle into the hand, and enjoy that nice stretch. And we'll let that go. And we'll try that on the other side. So holding on to our ankle, flexing our foot around our ankle, and enjoying. If you feel a good stretch here and you're happy here, stay here. And if you want to deepen that stretch a little bit and add more activity to the back, lift up. Great stretch for anybody who runs or sits a lot, driving or at your desk because it strengthens the back and stretches the front of our bodies, which we all need, and lowering down. Now, if you were happy with that, stay there. If you want to try full bow, it's both legs at the same time. And if you're not into that, just do whatever leg you felt tighter on. So holding on to both ankles, and I might just stay here because I feel a good stretch. And if I want a little bit more activity, I lift the thighs and the chest off the mat, stretching the front of the shoulders, the front of the hips, the quadriceps, and strengthening the back. So perfect, what we all need. Let's take one more breath here. You can do it. And let it go down. And release the legs down. We're going to press ourselves up into a kneeling. And just find a moment, find a pause before you move on to the next segment of your day. And know that any little bit that you do counts. So good for you. Thank you for sharing some time with me. Have a super day.